I was on H-1B for about 10 years until, I sponsored my own H-1B through my own company. And that's when I became a founder. And then I applied for EB-1A to get approval for it, to then finally get my green card. Co-founder is not required from immigration standpoint. You can be a solo owner owning 100% of an entity in today's age and get your H-1B sponsored.
They don't want to do big tech jobs and they just directly want to jump into entrepreneurship. First year OPT seems straightforward, like they can start a business and they can self-sponsor first year of OPT. But what about STEM OPTs?
You don't need $1 million in funding to sponsor an H-1B. If I could get 10 people to pay for it, I know I have something of value. Otherwise, this makes no sense. Year one, we ended with, I think, $1 million ARR. It's just like the spike was like this. Now, here's a fun fact. In any app store search results, the first app gets downloaded like 70% of the time, second gets 20%, third, fourth, fifth, 10%. Nobody scrolls after like app number 5.
Sid, thank you so much for doing this. I am excited to talk more about entrepreneurship, but then also the route to entrepreneurship through immigration.
Mm.
That is like, I know something if everyone is struggling with. I have high skilled immigrants as my audience, and they are very interested. They also have entrepreneurship, and a lot of them have it in their blood, but they don't have path. Like, okay, how do I do it? The tactical side of it, the immigration side of it. And since you've gone through this journey, I think it'll be exciting to walk through your journey. But before that, let's do a quick intro. Who are you? When did you come to United States? What do you do right now?
Cool. Hey, thanks, Yudi. Pleasure to speak with you. And I'm going to cater my most of what I speak is to, assuming that a lot of people here listening are students or early in their career. So I've been here 15 years. I came here 2010. I went to upstate New York, Rochester Institute of Technology, finished my master's 2012. And then for me, it was just series of startups in Boston area. So I've been in the
Mm,
East Coast after that, Boston, New York, moving back and forth between different jobs. Last few jobs for me was Compass Real Estate, which, good for me that they went public after I joined, before. Uh, and then I joined a company called Joker, which was doing a 15-minute delivery, which is very popular in India now. It started in New York, and just when the pandemic started. So I was there early on. It became a unicorn in 8 months, and I was serving as VP of engineering. That's around that time is when I started a side project called Renovate AI, which grew into my current company, for which I'm a CEO right now.
mm. Okay. And that is that how you kind of figured out the path. Because you started the side hustle and you probably wanted to do that as your main hustle. So
Yeah.
that kind of the birth of like, okay, I need to figure out like, how do I run this full time?
So two things happened that allowed this to work. And when I retrospectively think about it, one is because of the pandemic, because we were working remotely, right? You got a little bit more time on hand, and I
Mm,
was not in office, so I could do a side project.
mm,
And before that, I had an idea of doing this, not the idea of Renovate AI, but having my own business, having
mm,
a product, right? Being an entrepreneur, whatnot.
mm, mm,
But when you go to the office, 9 to 5, 9 to 7, whatever, you can't work in the office. So you have to moonlight it, right? And moonlighting projects, when you're a manager or a bunch of tasks and your emails don't stop, it's almost impossible, right?
yeah.
Because you're anyways full of doubts, right? There's so much to figure out, so you hardly get time to do it. So pandemic gave me time to work on it. And
Mhm,
when the AI boom happened as well, so that got me really, really excited around 2022. I was like, well, we got to do it now or never.
mm,
So those things, pandemic and the AI, was a wave I wanted to ride. So one thing I'll say with entrepreneurship is timing. See what waves there, and if you can ride it, if you can pick one, it lifts you up, right? Distribution is easy. Your product sales will become easier. You choose the right niche, and you can find people who are more willing to adopt and adapt your product at a given market, right? Right. You have to
mm,
find your market. It just becomes easier. Second thing that happened with me was I was able to find a co-founder.
Mm.
and just having one more person with which I can kind of spar. And if one day I'm demotivated, they are pumped. If they are demotivated, I'm pumped. So we lift
Mm.
each other up.
Mm.
And I was his manager at Joker, so kind of we had a good relationship, anyways. And I know how this person works, and I could offload a lot of technical um, engineering to him. We're both engineers by trade, so I
Mm.
found a technical co-founder, and I could really back off and really relearn all of MBA, right? So I could
Mm.
just learn business, finance, accounting, immigration, 10,000 other things that I'm still learning.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hopefully now you're delegated a lot of it, but yeah, okay.
uh,
And at
to
this point,
AI.
to AI. Oh, to AI. Okay, interesting.
We'll talk
Uh,
about it.
Before we dive into all the strategies and stories that we're going to discuss in this podcast, let me ask you this. Do you have a clear job hunting strategy to get an internship or full time job? Most people don't, and it's costing them opportunities. I've helped over 1,100 students with their strategies through my ultimate job hunting course.
And trust me, I'm not even kidding. I could see so many recruiters viewing my profile.
And it's been the best investment I've ever made.
The content is incredibly practical, filled with tips and strategies that make you stand out to recruiters.
It was one of the best courses that I have done till date.
This course covers everything that you need to stand out. You will get ultimate resume course, you will get ultimate LinkedIn course, networking strategy, access to 1,100 plus job seekers for support, and personal support from me through WhatsApp group. I will walk you through every single step that you need with real examples and the tools that will give you an edge. I don't want you to miss any other opportunity to land your next job or an internship. So check the link in the description. And now I will let you enjoy the podcast. At this point, what visa type you are on?
Right. So 2010, as most of you who will come here or who are here, you'll come as an F1 student or directly as H1B or O1 if you do that. So I came as an F1 student. I went from F1 to CPT to OPT to H1B. And
Mm.
that H1B, you just go on a perpetual renewal until you get a green card. So I was on H1B for about 10 years
Mm.
until I sponsored my own H1B through my own company,
Mm.
and that's when I became a founder. And then I applied for EB1A to get approval for it, to then finally get my green card, which was a couple of years ago, last year.
Wait, I didn't know that you had EB1A. So now we have to talk about that too. So, okay. So, H1B is for 6 years, but I'm assuming you filed for EB2 perm process, and then
Right.
I-140 was approved, and you get you get unlimited H1B extension basically at that point of time.
Correct.
Uh,
Yeah.
and then you're like, okay, I got this idea. You're working on this idea, and AI wave is going on, but you now have to figure out like how do you do it, because on H1B you technically can't do it. So
Yes.
how did that transition happen? And this is also another question, like, is co-founder really necessary from immigration standpoint and from business standpoint? I feel like yes, but I'm curious to know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, so co-founder is not required from immigration standpoint. You can be a solo owner owning 100% of an entity
Mm,
in today's age and get your H-1B sponsored.
mm,
So that's actually more lenient now than it was when I applied for it. When
mm,
I applied for my H-1B through my own company, for which I did not own 100%, but I had majority ownership. Same thing,
mm,
right? So if you have majority ownership, you have the same problems as you have 100% ownership, because that means you dictate everything about your nature of your work, and you can't fire yourself.
yeah,
And the stipulation of H-1B literally is you can't have an H-1B job unless somebody can fire you, right? Somebody
right,
above you.
yeah,
So the way I got around it, or way you get around it, typically is you create a board member, a board
mm,
for your company. Pretty
mm,
common as a C corp, just paperwork. And I had 3-person board, and the board members don't have to have equity in the company. They need to have just voting rights, And board members, even though I'm the majority owner, they can outvote me, saying that, CEO is incompetent and they have the
Mm.
ability to fire me.
Mm.
As long as you prove that that's an employer-employee relationship, so that satisfies the H-1B requirement, and then I have to pay myself a prevailing wage as well.
Got
So
it.
I had to choose what title I want. So I hired myself as principal engineer at that time.
Mm. Mm. And I'm assuming this is the same case if someone was on F1, they're studying, they're doing their masters, and they're like, I have this idea, I want to I don't want to do FANG jobs, or I don't want to do big tech. I say big FANG because that's my audience.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
don't want to do big tech jobs, and they just directly want to jump into entrepreneurship. First year OPT seems straightforward. Like they can start a business and they can self-sponsor first year of OPT. But what about STEM OPT? Same rules apply, right? Like you have to establish this employer-employee relationship.
So STEM, yes. OPT, I know you can be a founder. Um, I think a lot of people in H-1B founders community, that's a group I run, that are doing it. And, very, I love that OPT founders, they have high energy, early, right? So a lot of optimism. So it's
Mm.
great to see that. I think once you get to STEM, couple of problems. One, to hire yourself, you need to be e-verified as an
Mm.
entity, which is
Yeah.
easy to do, no big deal. You can get e-verified, takes 2 days. Um, and then, but eventually your STEM OPT will run out, right? It's like 2 more years for you. So you would want to get an H-1B or O-1 visa to stay in the
Yeah.
US.
Yeah.
So same, then you're in the same bucket. Nothing different about you.
Mm. Okay. And I know you said C Corp already. This is
Mhm.
another question. Like, what is the legal entity structure that we should have? Obviously, you can be sole proprietor, LLC, S Corp, C Corp. Is it necessary to have C Corp? Can I do single member LLC? What's your thought on that?
So, entity to me at this point right now, I think of them mostly for tax purposes. What saves me the more taxes?
Mm.
For immigration, I would, no, you got to ask your accountant because LLC is very state dependent, right? So if I'm in Massachusetts, I have a lot of
Mm.
laws for Massachusetts I gotta, comply with. If you're in
Mm.
California, I know there's a lot more taxes, right? So
Mhm.
people in California, Stripe, whatever company you name, their entity is in Delaware, right?
Mm.
Because the laws of Delaware are very business friendly, and no VC will invest in you if you're not a Delaware C corp. They will shift you there. So if you start a company in Seattle, say,
Mm.
hey, I have a LLC and I would love to raise some funding. They will want to move your entity to Delaware C corp before they give you money. Um,
I think
Anticipating that. Mhm.
it might be not necessarily the state where the entity is registered. It might be the structure, because in LLC, single member, you can't distribute the equity. Like you can't just say like uh, this many stocks. You can't do ESOPs and all of it. For that you need to have C corp, versus single member LLC, you cannot, and S corp also you cannot. So that's
Right.
more of it is C corp. And yes, Delaware and Wyoming, those are more business friendly states. So if a lawsuit happens, you can fight. Like there's a lot more friendliness towards business versus California, where it's more community oriented, employee oriented. I think
True.
that's
Yeah, that's true. ESOP is true too. But if you remember recently, Elon moved his thing
true.
X from
Awesome.
Delaware to Texas. But
Hmm.
it was a Delaware C Corp, right? Even though it's a
Yeah,
California company.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
they do all this registration because Delaware has precedence of cases. So in case something happens, they are investor friendly, right? They will
Mm,
bias towards investors, and that's
mm,
what investors like about it.
mm,
There's no legal requirement you need to be in Delaware.
mm,
It's just that the law has a precedence of favoring something,
mm,
so they know what's going to happen in case there's a lawsuit. I anticipated that, and I had a Delaware C corp. And the only reason I did that early on is because I had a friend who started a company in Massachusetts, and when they had to raise funding, they had to move to Delaware, and that costed them like thousands of dollars. So I was like, I'm not gonna go and start a company, and then if I raise funding, I have to move it back to Delaware and give a lawyer money because you have to shut a company down, restart the thing, and all that. Luckily for me, being a Delaware C corp, it was good. It's no problem. I can work in Massachusetts. I never raised funding. I was able to bootstrap it to be profitable and just work on that profit. And it's just like bootstrap it all the way to where it is right now.
Hey, before we move on to the next part of the video, I want to quickly talk about our newsletter community, which you can be part of absolutely free. We are now going strong and we have more than 40,000 people in our newsletter community. So imagine 40,000 people are receiving my newsletter every single week, twice a week, where I break down all of the stories that we did and make it a valuable resource for you. So if you're someone who doesn't have time to watch this and you just want to get an email with all of the resources into an email, that is the place to be. I'll put the link in the description. I'll give you some example. This is the one for Tanvi, where how she got 2 co-ops and she paid off her entire master's fees. This is an example of Maya, where she got 3 co-ops and she paid off her fees plus a little bit of savings. Here is an example of Sahil, who got his green card in 3 years. Here is an example where we shared bunch of resources on job hunting. So I promise this is going to be valuable resource for you, and it doesn't cost you anything. If you want to be part of our newsletter community, link will be in the description, or you can go to link.udj.com/newsletter. This is the URL. And now I'll let you enjoy the video. Okay, so I'm going through a student journey right now. I have an idea. I'm like, okay, I think this idea is gonna work. This is my business idea, and I register C Corp Delaware, and then I start working on it. Let's say at what point do I decide that I can do H1B? Like, do I have to have an income? Do I have to have funding? Like, what point can I do like H1B?
Yeah. So one common misconception is, when can you do an H-1B? You don't need $1 million in funding to sponsor an H-1B. In my case, roughly speaking, I funded it myself to begin with. And then I had revenue from the app I built. So I had some business revenue coming in and a business plan. So it's got to be a legit entity, not a shell company, right? So you have to have a business that you really want to, that's supposed to make profits. Once that is true, I was able to do it with $80,000 in my bank account from revenue and the funding and whatnot. Now, is there a requirement from USCIS that you need to have X amount of money? No. The attorneys I've spoken to, they say there's no legal requirement as such, but you have to prove that the company can afford your salary. So now it comes down to, okay, what is your salary? That depends on what is your title. What level are you hiring yourself for? That depends on what your master's degree is in, right? So if you have a master's in computer science, for example, obviously a software engineer is a perfect title for you. H-1B compliant job, and you have to hire yourself as a junior engineer. You can, based on where you are, Seattle versus Boston versus Connecticut, your salary is different. So then I think roughly speaking, from what I see is you have to be able to show that you can pay 1 year of salary. And you prove it, through funding in the bank. You got to have cash, but you can also prove it by saying future contracts. Hey, look, I have future contracts that's account payable that I'm going to receive. And here's my business plan and how the company thinks it will generate revenue, right? So it's kind of case making, proving that, it's a business that's hiding this specialized skill and it will be able to afford the salary. So an attorney will help you with that. I'm not an attorney, FYI, everybody. But I'm just
Nothing these
telling you what
days
I read.
is disclaimer. Yeah, it's not an immigration advice. Correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
gotcha. And let's say if it's is Renovate AI consumer or is it B2B?
It's primarily consumer.
Oh, okay, interesting. And you said it's 2 million ARR.
Yeah.
Wow, that is amazing. What
Yeah.
does it do?
So Renovate AI. So I used to work at Compass. I told you in New York. Compass was a real estate company, and I used to work with a lot of real estate agents.
Hmm.
One problem they had was virtual staging, which is they're selling this $1 million New York houses, penthouses or Hamptons, which is $50 million. And they have these empty rooms which they want to stage before they upload a listing, right, on MLS. So doing virtual staging requires somebody to know Photoshop, and they have like 24 hours of turnaround time. Then they don't like it. There's some artifacts, they repeat it. It's cumbersome for real estate agents to virtually stage their listings. And they have, 50 pictures of rooms in different angles, right?
Hmm.
So 2022, when DALI came out, when we started doing like image generation, I was very curious. What if AI could stage empty rooms? And I
Hmm.
knew customer base very well. I'm like, I'll just go to agents and sell it, right? Like, hey, stage your room in like 10 seconds for 10
Hmm.
cents versus $30 in 3 days, right? So I thought that's
Interesting.
a business
So
for sure.
realtors are your users?
So the funny thing is, I started with that idea, right? And this is where business pivots and all those things, testing your ideas, failing fast, all those
Hmm.
things come in, right? I was bootstrapping it. And I didn't want to play this VC game where I have this profit after 5 years. I wanted to
Hmm.
be churning money and producing profits
Hmm.
6 months or 1 year, right?
Hmm.
So I crashed open houses to find my customers, right? So I had a friend who had an open house. I just went there with a laptop like this. I'm like, hey, and the agents were there because they're coming there to see this open house and to get a listing. Everybody got excited, like, yeah, obviously, great idea. We will love it. Great, and all that. And if you remember, this is pre-Chat GPT. This is just 2 months before Chat GPT. So AI would renovate and get you a stage, but it will have some artifacts, right? Some things blurry, a little bit here, a little bit there. The problem with agents is two. One, they are very technology averse. They don't like anything they don't understand, right? So I kind of understood that they're not early adopters per se. They love being on the phone. They love helping customers. They are all about brand, right? And they hire these assistants who work on the back office, find a listing, do the PR, do the marketing, right?
Hmm.
So I'm selling them a technology of virtual staging, and they're like, it's great. Talk to my assistant, right? Maybe
Hmm.
she'll like it, right?
Hmm.
So very quickly I figured out, oh my God, they are not the customers, right?
Hmm.
Right? Then how do I reach the assistant? So a month or two went by, and they wanted something perfect, right? It
Hmm.
has to work. We can't just do all that. And I'm like, I can't design a product if I can't iterate on it. I need
Hmm.
feedback.
Hmm.
Like, if it sucks, tell me what doesn't work. Use
Hmm.
it. So how do I do it? Month two into the business, we're like, screw SaaS, right? We're not doing B2B. Let's build a mobile app. Let's get it to consumers. Let's have like hundreds of thousands of people download it and use it. Let's see what they think. Let it give us feedback so at least we can iterate the product, right?
Hmm.
And that was a good decision. So Jan 2023, we launched Renovate AI. It was the first mobile app to do like AI-based home renovation. We were being early there was helpful because you get keywords, you get metadata locked into Apple App Store, and you can rank higher early on.
Hmm.
So we got there early, and then a month one, right? My goal was, can I get 10 people to pay for it?
Hmm.
Literally.
Hmm.
Like, if I could get 10 people to pay for it, I know I have something of value.
Hmm.
Otherwise, this makes no sense. I'm just imagining stuff, and let's pivot again, month two.
Hmm.
Because early on, if you're doing it, you may have like 5 or 6 different ideas. What you want to do is fail fast, really,
Hmm.
really fail so badly that you know this is not going to work, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is
So
absolutely not going to work. Let's move on to the next idea.
let's move
Right.
on to the next thing, right? So like, if I can't get 10 people in a month, this is not going to work,
Hmm.
right? So can I
Hmm.
get 10 people? So that's why I funded this company as well. So I put in 20K. My partner put some money. I put some money. We run some ads because I can get consumers to use the app if I run ads. Somebody's searching for paint my house on App Store. If my app is number one in the search results, they will download it, right?
Hmm.
So I'm sure shot to get downloads. And then if I get 100 people to download it, not a single person pays, I know for sure something is wrong in the app, right? Like, how are they using? So you instrument it, you figure out. Luckily, around February, we got 10 people to pay, right? And they were paying it, and they were early adopters. And
And
the thing about
what's
early
the pay?
adopters is,
What's the like? How much were they paying?
so that's very interesting, right? So pricing is always very interesting. So how do you price it, right? So it's a
Yeah.
subscription model, or is it a one-time model? So I think we did right now, I would say in like 2 years, we have done more than 50 or 60 pricing experiments. It's all data-driven right now. Early on, I started very cheap. I wanted 10 customers. So I think we made a monthly plan and a yearly plan, or maybe weekly and monthly, I forget, but like $9 a month, or maybe $5 a week, something like that. Uh, and I do remember we had a very cheap plan too, like $3 and you get 10 credits, something like that. So 10 photos you can renovate. So people downloaded it. The good thing about early adopters at that point was they were okay with the shitty product, right? They were like totally fine. Oh man, this doesn't work. We got emails saying, I'm an architect in Europe. I believe in eco-friendly and Zen-like spaces. AI is the future. What you guys are building is the future, right? So you get one email like that, you're like, hell yeah, this sounds like this is a good idea.
Right.
And
Okay.
you're more willing to put more money in and your time in and go all in, right?
So right now my house is getting, I don't know if you can hear it or not, but its construction is
Yeah.
going on. And so you're saying like I could basically download the app, and I'm like, we were like in the biggest doubt, like, should we take down these walls or not? Like, what is this gonna do? So are you saying like I could basically use the app to see what the app, like the house will look like, and then
Absolutely. Like
interesting.
that's the
Okay.
whole point, visualization, right? So it's hard to imagine what something could look like. And all you need is a smartphone with a camera, which is every phone, right?
Nice.
So you take a
Okay.
picture
And
and
then
10 seconds, and you can even prompt it now. It works really well. And we have a lot of styles in there. You can give it industrial style, bohemian, however, industrial,
yeah.
chic, luxury.
Gotcha. Okay.
You could do all that. We have even materials we are launching now. So now we're going like a little bit more custom where taking a picture, we have segmentation model that you can select. Let's say I have kitchen right here. So I can select the cabinets and say, show me my cabinets in different color or different materials, right? So
Man,
wood,
this would
something
have been so
else.
useful. I didn't know about this app, and I know you're not paying me to say this, but I'm excited to try this out.
Well, you
But
get pro subscription from my end for three
okay,
months.
great, nice. And
Yeah.
your background is engineering or construction or both?
No, it's all engineering. The reason I told you I got into this is because of my familiarity with real estate, Compass. I was working as engineer there. I was building a mobile app for real estate agents
Okay,
for buying
gotcha.
and selling houses.
Okay, got it. Okay, and so now the app is focused on consumer um, month. I mean, recurring revenue, 2 million. That's crazy. And then when you started, obviously at that point of time, it wasn't that. You were like at that point you said like you had to show in your application how much money will like your salary would be. So let's say
Yes.
again going back to student avatar, I am building an app for job hunting. Like let's say that's an app I'm building. It's going to automate. I'm going to have AI agents who's going to apply on my
Mm,
behalf. Very common, right? I came up with this idea, and it's going to be $10 per month subscription based model.
yeah.
uh, I only have 10 users right now, just like you.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's like only $100 a month, which is not
Hmm.
enough to pay my salary. So how will this up have, like, I'm not raising funds, so
Mm,
how can I use this to show that okay, I am going to have like maybe 1,000 users, which will be 100,000 dollars per month revenue
right.
or something like that.
So we can dive into the immigration side of things and also like just pure business, right?
Yeah.
So let me let me first do the pure business, right? Let's say you were a founder anyways, anywhere in the world, and you're going to have the same problem, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, with consumers, the thing is, here's what you have that people didn't have before, right? On App Store or on Google, you know what people are searching for? Their search volume, okay? If I have to open a shop tomorrow in Boston here, right, or in a fair, right, what would I want? I want to see is what are people buying? How are they spending money, right? And imagine I had data saying, here are 100 people, out of 140 people spending money on exactly this thing, which is whatever keyword that is, right? Once I know that, I know people are going to spend money. All I need to do is build a solution to that problem, right?
Mm.
And if I can get in front of them, they are going to pay.
Mm.
This, what I just described, is market research, right?
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
like understanding the market. It's not that complicated once you understand basic keywords, searching, and you do something purely digital, right? Much
Mhm.
easier,
Mhm.
right? You don't have to even interview people. We have the
Mhm.
data. So let's say, for my example, for my app, Renovate AI, and we have other apps too, by the way. So I started my company, it's called Trial and Error. Renovate AI was the first app we built, and luckily we got through it. Um, I would look for home design as a keyword, paint my house, virtual staging, right? A collection of 50 keywords with high volume. Volume tells you every day, if it's a physical shop, people are coming in looking for this kind of shop to buy something from.
Mhm.
What do I want next? I want to buy some real estate, open my shop, make it attractive, welcome the customers, right?
Mhm.
That itself is the hardest problem to do because after that, you've achieved that, people coming in, then it's your product, right? Then you can focus on that, and that's in your control.
Mm.
If people are coming into your shop and not buying anything, that's your fault. You got to fix it. You
Mhm.
got traffic coming in. Can you sell now? Now they have a problem. You know why they're coming in. Do you
Mm.
understand that? And can you sell that? Can you upsell it? Can you sell more? So then you can bootstrap it and increase it, right? So, but building that mechanism is easier on the App Store. It's easier on Google searches if you built a pure, like, consumer-based, search-based solution, right?
Mhm.
So in our case, eventually this comes down to customer acquisition cost, how much money it takes me to have the real estate or have those keywords and ads coming in that brings the traffic, right?
Mhm.
Let's say it's $1 per install, right? It takes me $1 to get one person to install my app. And then how much money does that each install gets me,
Mm.
right? So let's say it's $1 per install, 100 people install the app, out of which 5 people pay,
Mhm.
right? Because I'm early on.
Mhm.
But each 5 person pays $20
Mhm.
because that's a monthly subscription. This is where
Yeah.
pricing comes in. What are you selling?
Yep.
That's $100.
Mhm.
So then $100 in the machine, $100 out,
Yep.
right? You're breaking even on day one.
Yeah. Yeah. Your ROAS is 1. Correct.
Your OS is one. So once you have that, you
Yeah.
literally have and just so you know, everybody listening there, 90% of the businesses don't achieve that, right?
Mm.
They're not profitable. That
Yeah. You're
is
burning money.
profit right there.
Mm.
So getting that is pretty hard, but you can kind of game it for a niche. You can, if you focus very narrow, it's much easier to do. Most people lose not on the money you can get from a customer, not the LTV. Most people lose on the customer acquisition cost because it gets very high.
Mm.
And the battle then is distribution, right?
Mm.
Then the entire game is how can I reduce my customer acquisition cost? How do you do it now in 2025? This podcast, right? Influencer. So you can get your customers here by
Mm.
having content, media, be
Mm.
big on Twitter, be big on Instagram. That's organic traffic, right? You're not even paying for ads. Second, press, talks, right? Brand building, LinkedIn posting. Running ads is just pure money game, right? You just throw money in, you get traffic.
Well,
That's the
it's
VC
more than
game.
money, but yeah, like this copy matters the most. Your assets, creative assets will matter as well. But yeah, what I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, you can hire a vendor and they can do all the work for you, right?
True. Yeah. But like, again, back to the question that, let's say I did figure out, in my case, let's say I'm starting a company. It is on job hunting, and it's a tool which is going to help people apply for jobs, etc. And it's a $10 subscription per month per user.
Hmm.
I know this is a need. I know that is, I've already figured out the market has this need. I have the product. I only have 10 users right now paying. Um, Now the immigration side of it, like, I'm only making $100 a month, because that's what my user base is right now. I
Yeah,
know it has the potential of making $100,000 a month. I can get 1,000 users to pay $10, whatever, $10,000 a month,
yep,
and more, and so on. So, but how do I convince USCIS that is going to happen in future, not now? So do I need
yeah,
a VC money to show that I'm going to be able to provide salary for myself as an employee, or like,
yeah.
how does that work?
So same way, how would you convince an investor that you're gonna make money in the future? So here's the question I'm gonna ask,
Mm,
right? Like I just told you, okay, you have less revenue, that's fine, but how are you getting a customer? What's your acquisition channel, right? So you can
mm,
say, can you increase it very quickly, right?
mm,
And to increase it, how much money will that need? So
mm.
you may want to have some funding, which you can self-fund as well, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can do,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So you can put 20K in it and say that, okay, that's the funding to friends and family,
yeah.
right? Take a loan, that's fine. It's all the same thing.
Mm,
Loan, self-funding, friends and family, or VC giving you money. Ultimately, it's debt based on something that you have. So that's good enough because you have a working app, that there is revenue coming in, and you can show there's a business plan of increasing it.
mm,
That's the pure consumer. But you could also show, if you could, some contracts and discussions with businesses, right? I have this 5 contracts coming up, and I'm talking to these big businesses who kind of use something like this, or white label it, or use my services, and it's going to be a 1 year contract, right?
mm,
Ultimately, what you're proving is that your business will survive,
mm,
right? But so you're right. If your revenue is $100 a month, most likely you're not going to be able to prove that you can afford $100,000 a year salaried software engineer.
mhm.
Like even to me, even somebody who's not a USCIS guy would not believe it.
Right. Because I'm assuming a lot of people are going to be in this boat, that they have an idea, they have some paying customer, but they don't have enough that can pay their salary, especially software engineer salary. So what is the route at that point? Is it raising the funds, or is it like, is it getting to a point where, so 3 years of STEM OPT, with STEM OPT, is it getting to the point where they can do this, or like, how do they navigate this scenario, or
Yeah,
like
it's a
basically
good
go to
question.
incubators?
It's a good question.
Yeah,
So I'll ask this if I'm having this discussion with somebody,
yeah,
right? And I'll
yeah.
put myself, well, I was there. I'll ask the following. Let's say your app is making this money, $100, $1,000 a month.
Hmm.
Let's say you got the visa, you got the H-1B,
Hmm.
right? Is that what you want though, right? Then your app's gonna die in 6 months, right? Would you want to rely 100% on this business that makes $100 or $1,000 a month? Because then you're risking your entire career, right? You're risking it in a way that, okay, it's making $1,000. I got the visa, but now if this doesn't work, not only do you lose a business and salary, you also lose your visa. You have to find a job, right? So
Hmm.
you pretty much don't want to do it, don't want to hack around it to get a visa from this entity, right? So that's one way to look at it because you want some, you need the H-1B job here to stay in America, right?
Hmm.
So either you work on your company, but if
Hmm.
it's going down, you got to find a different job or have a, other avenue, right? So that's one. Second, if it is like that, you said funding, yes, I will look for funding, right? You can get into Y Combinator, get into accelerators, right? YC is a famous one, that's why I'm naming it. They are very early seed stage companies. If you can prove right? You have like a product that 10 people are paying, that's good enough. That's more than, I would say, 30% of the people. The other 30% have, Stanford and MIT and Harvard, right? So they take over. I would say that's 80% of YC,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
And then
but
30 other
like, we don't have
20%.
to talk about YC. I mean, there's Unshackle, VC Ventures. I mean, there are a bunch of
Unshackled,
other.
much better. One Way Ventures in Boston, they are
Mhm.
only immigrant founders here, right? They
Yep.
only fund that.
Yep.
So there are, yeah, I would raise funding. I mean, that's fine. You're early on, if you're in your 20s, right? It gives you a
Mm,
cushion, right?
mm,
Uh, I was not in my 20s. I was very like, I don't want to give equity unless I have to.
mm,
So I had a
mm,
different path. And I worked for
mm,
many startups knowing what
mm,
high growth feels like. And I did not want to grow very quickly, like by
mm,
design. I want profits to grow quickly, not
mm,
customer base.
mm.
Right?
Gotcha. Okay. And how much funding? Like 500,000 enough for 1 year, enough for two
Oh,
years
yeah.
salary? Like what's like the amount I should like be raising for?
I think 500 could be
Okay.
really good to 100% fail,
Mm.
right?
Gotcha.
Like you could fail amazingly well-educated founder that's come out of, right, knowing what doesn't work, what works in 500K.
Mm. Gotcha. Okay. And I'm assuming people will have to learn how to like create a valuation for their company because I mean I don't know how randomly they can come up with like, oh, my company's value $100 million based on these 10 customers. So, I
You
mean
can
you've never raised.
extrapolate it. Yeah, your seed funding is interesting. I do think most companies will get valued because you are putting your time in, right? And let's say you spent 3 months working on it. That's capital asset. That's not nothing, right?
Mhm,
So your own, and if you have a co-founder, if two people are working on this for 6 months or 3 months, and they've been prototyping it, they have 10 customers, fine, but they have iterated on this for 6 months, that's capital, right? There is
mm,
value in it, and people will long term say, okay, I can give you 100K for 10% that values it at $1 million. That happens all the time. Um,
mm,
if you have past experience in the domain, right? Because VCs love that. Especially, let's say you worked for an HR company, like, one of these HR tools, right?
mm,
And you come and say, I was a senior engineer or principal engineer there. I know how this thing works. I built it.
mm,
Now I'm going to start a company, right?
mm,
I'm going to do it better because I
mm.
know all the reasons. See, even the balloons are agreeing with that.
Yeah.
I know all the reasons why, what's the technology, the tech that's and the reasons in the AI age. I know I can do it better, right?
Mm,
If you were funding it, right, you will be like, that's a good bet to make, right? Because this person has done it before. They know the
mm.
domain.
Yeah.
They have the tech chops,
Mm,
and they're going to work extra hard, right?
mm,
So
mm,
any VC would love that kind of pitch. So your
mm,
pitch has to have some domain expertise, what I've seen, all right? I had that struggle too, like this construction. I had no background in it, right? Renovation, no background in it. I had the real estate play, and I was gonna play that. If I were gonna go to raise a VC round, I would have played hard on my expertise as somebody who knows real estate software very well,
mm,
right? Not as an interior designer.
mm.
Um, but you gotta have the domain match, and then the funding is easier.
Got it. Okay. So back to your story. Obviously, you started with 10 users and then you're like, okay, let's double down. How did you scale? Like, how did you scale to a million? 2 million is, let's even start with 100K. Like, how did you scale? Because that's an interesting, and basically the context behind this question is, at what point should someone say like, okay, I need to find a job.
Yeah,
This is not gonna work out.
that's a good, yeah, yeah. So my goal after 10 customers was my co-founder was in Canada, still is. And I wanted to get him full-time first before I go full-time, right? So we were thinking, okay, now the next milestone is when can we afford salary one, right? So that can be like, he could just start working on it, right? And he was going to be in Canada, so we did not need any visa on it, but he was going to quit his job, right? As soon as we reached that milestone. That was the next thing that proved it. And then after that, it was going to be my H1B, for which I wanted to be extra sure, because it's not like I can quit the job and just go back to my previous job, right? So imagine January we launched, Feb, March, April was this really like do or die, right? Can we do this, right? So a lot of learnings there, rapid iterations. I think we shipped the app every 3 days at that point, right? Changing,
And the
and we're
co-founder is also
watching.
engineer?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, gotcha. So
yeah.
two
So he was the
technical.
one, yeah, both of us coding, yeah.
Okay.
One thing I would say is, anytime I relied on outsourcing anything at early on, I struggled because you wanted so much fine tuning very quickly that you want to control everything, right? So I wouldn't outsource coding for sure, right? Because you're at the mercy of the vendor, right? Maybe you find a good one, but you're not going to be able to maneuver very quickly. So we iterated pretty fast. Jan, Feb, March. March, I remember because I took my wife on a dinner date, and that was, or maybe February. Oh, February, I took her on a dinner date, and it was all of the month's revenue, right? Some like $400, $300.
Right.
I was like, okay, there goes the revenue for the month. March, April, one trick that worked for me, other than making the product better, was yearly planning, yearly prices. And this is, by the way, a phenomenal idea, which is, okay, I thought I'm getting these customers at, let's again, $1, right? $1 in. And all I wanted was my LTV to match my customer acquisition cost.
Yeah.
Because what I knew is once I match it, all I have to do is put more money in on this side,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I had savings. I could buy Bitcoin or put money in my own business, right? Or or take a loan at that point, right? Friends and family. I could raise a funding with my family was interested in what I'm doing. I could say, hey, I want to borrow some money, and if you're interested, I could give them equity. I don't mind that. But I needed to prove that. I started selling 6-month yearly plan. Yearly plan with a 6 months off, right? So 6 months free. So it became
Interesting.
very cheap. So for example, even right now in the app, I have the monthly plan at $9 or $19, and the yearly is $70 or $60. So you get a month for $20, but you get the full year for $60. Okay. Now the benefit of that is for me as a business is that if you're now each customer is paying $60,
Yeah.
right? As soon as I hit that, I put $100 in, and I was making 200.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. And that was April. Okay. May, I and my co-founder, we put more money into the business. We're like, all right, we are full strapping it, putting 20K in ads. Let's see what happens. Okay. So that revenue went from 10K, 30K. In December, we were 100K monthly revenue, right? By December of the same year. And then we kept growing it from after that.
And
Once we figured that
not
out.
profit. This is not profit. Gross
This is
revenue.
revenue. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. And so at this point, it's still 1:1, or are you like making profit?
So software business, the amazing thing about software is it's 96% gross profit, right? Your server costs are minimal, right?
96%. Wow. Oh my
Yeah.
God. That is wild. I need to
It's
start
an
doing software.
amazing time to be a software engineer.
Okay. Wow. That
There
is
is no
wild.
variable cost, right? Same software cell can I sell to 10 million people. It costs the same to me. The server cost, it's minimal, right? Now with AI, there's GPU cost. And what we did is we have our own GPUs. Like that's where I think some of the expertise of my co-founder comes in. It's pretty smart. It's solid. And it's like one of the smartest engineers I work with. Like we got the GPUs under control. So that's 95% gross profit. Then your entire other thing goes into payroll and ads, right? Now, payroll is the one that kills software companies because engineers are expensive, right?
Mhm.
Okay, who was expensive here? Just me and him, right? So we ate that. And that was about leverage that we could be the engineers, give ourselves the money,
Mm, mm,
right? And so it was two of us for 2 years, by the way.
mm.
We didn't
Wow.
hire anybody.
When did you hire? Like, what was the revenue? Like, is there a calculation that you guys did?
So we had like customer support in Philippines, right? So
Mm.
we had in Philippines, I got like a bunch of support people. We got few people to look at ads a little bit after training. Some
And
vendors,
sorry,
but now
can I track back? These ads that full fledged, were you running through ad agency, or were you like, this is also self taught and you were doing it
no
on your own?
self-taught. Like I tried an agency after 8 months, no, like in 2024, after 1 year of
Yeah,
running it.
yeah.
Um, well, the lack of a better word, I think the better word here is that it screwed it up for me. Like I
Mm,
couldn't recover once they screwed up my campaigns. And I
mm,
realized that nobody cares about it as much as I do, right? They just like doing it. So you
mm.
got to find people who care about it as much as you do.
And
And
sorry, I'm so curious. This is 2022.
so 2022, when I started the company in November, right? October, ChatGPT launches November.
Mm.
Okay. November, December, I pivot back and I'm not doing real estate.
Correct. Yeah,
Jan
you moved to
2023,
consumer.
I built a
Okay,
mobile app
gotcha.
and we launched it in like a month, right?
Yeah,
17 Jan is when I launch it. We know
yeah,
the date very well.
yeah.
Then Jan, Feb, March, April is that machine building phase, right?
Mm, mm,
I was 100% invested in making this work or do or
mm,
die, right? That was the
yeah.
time I was figuring out that is it going to work
Mm,
or not. So
mm,
this product building, feature building, listening to customers, talking to them. I was going on a call, emailing them, hey, you used the app, but you never even tried it. Why did you sign up? Right? Like what made you download it?
yeah,
Try
yeah.
to figure out like what are they doing? What do you want? I'll build it. Like tell me what you want. Right.
Right.
So that was our user research.
Yeah, yeah. That's the grind,
So
founder grind.
figuring
Yeah.
all those things out. And then the bootstrap happened in 2023 till December is when I think this year one, we ended with, I think, a million ARR. It just like the spike was like this, right? Once
Mm,
you hit that thing, because I told you, once your CAC and LTV breaks even,
mm,
if I have a machine, I put $1 in and $1.10 comes out. What's the next thing you're gonna do?
put more.
Put more,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So to me, it was like then the question really is how much more can I put in, right?
Mm, mm,
The question to me was how much money can I now throw into this
mm,
to run this machine full throttle until the equation is not linear anymore because customer
mm,
acquisition can start going up once you saturate the initial market, right? So that initial market was bigger than I thought.
Yeah, because I mean, I can imagine being user as well. So I mean, pretty much everybody is your market. Whoever owns a home.
And and
Yeah.
on that though, Yudi, and the reason you are even more inclined now is because of the AI wave, right? If you think about
Mhm.
it, this is
Mhm.
where when I said you gotta ride the wave, the lucky thing that happened with me and with a lot of AI companies is gonna happen, and also unlucky, right? Which is sometimes the waves are misleading, right? That people are more open to try an AI app
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
than they were 4 years
Correct.
ago,
100%. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. And was this all Meta, or were you also on Google? Any other?
Meta, I've not. It's expensive for me. Now it's expensive. Things were very different, right? And the one thing about ads are it's bidding, it changes all the time, month over month. The world is different, right?
Mm.
For me, success was App Store. Um, really, App Store was key success driver. Then there's Google Ads that I
Interesting.
mastered.
Okay. App Store ads. I mean, so do they only show the ads when you are visiting App Store, or like I'm curious, like I
Go to your phone and search for Renovate AI right now. You will see a competitor of ours right now is bidding on it, and that shows up as the first result. Or
but
what
like
I do,
search where? Like I have an
App
iPhone,
Store,
just
App Store,
App
go
Store.
to App
Okay.
Store.
Okay.
Search, if you just type Reno, the cool thing about that feels makes me feel really nice is it auto completes to Renovate AI.
Oh yes, it is. Yeah. No, I mean yours is still first right now.
Yeah, well, by the way, no, just look at it carefully. It's not just first. You see, my app is twice, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. First is ad.
Why?
Second is the organic.
Even the ad is mine. So you see
Hmm.
what's happening here?
Yeah.
This is defensive ad. I'm making sure that nobody can take this keyword and be the first
Oh,
person.
interesting. Okay.
So this is the ad. This is the actual listing, organic, right?
Yeah.
Now, here's a fun fact.
Yeah.
In any app store search results, the first app gets downloaded like 70% of the time. Second gets 20%, third, fourth, fifth, 10%. Nobody scrolls after like app number 5, right?
Hmm. Interesting.
Then your
But like
game
I would,
becomes,
as a consumer, I would never go to like I would find this through like an Instagram or like searching, browsing. Then I would like App Store is like my last thing that I would like. Okay, I found it. Now I want to go and try it. Versus, it's an interesting strategy that you applied to.
yeah, people do search for it.
Hmm,
And this is why I told you, right? Search volume matters, right?
hmm.
App Store, you're the App Store economy, 1 year. You want to guess how much money people spend on App Store in 1 year?
For ads.
Money spent by people. People
Oh,
spending money on App Store alone. If App Store was a country,
yeah, wow. I mean, I'm assuming it's a more than $1 billion now.
$1 trillion.
1 trillion.
And this
Wow.
is 2023, 2022.
Okay.
So
Now
if
it's even
App Store
more.
were a country, right,
Yeah.
it would be like a top 10.
Yeah.
So that's how big of a market it is.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay. So going back to the journey, at some point you realize that okay, LTV is same as your CAC. You started putting more money in the ads, and that's how you scaled to
Yeah.
1 million. And obviously the profit is 90% plus. And
Well, gross profit is 90%, 95%. Profit, you got to reduce the ad spend and the payroll, right?
okay,
Just to be
gotcha.
very clear. So
Yeah,
people don't think you can
net.
just make money like,
Yeah, you made like $900,000.
yeah.
Right, gotcha.
So
Okay. And so then you started hiring team members, and as so after December, after you hit 1 million, is that when you did your H1B?
yeah. And so once I got this, let's say 100, a month coming in, right? With the ad spend, whatever, right? Going up and down and different distribution strategy, Google, Meta, talking to B2B customers as well. I thought we have enough of paths to not have a single point of failure, right?
Mm,
Because
mm,
we were also started doing B2B. Some businesses were interested in our APIs. And so all the things I'm like, okay, if one thing fails, second will succeed. And that's when I'm like, okay, we go all in now. Plus we had the
mm,
money in the
mm,
bank.
mm,
And then I filed February 2024
mm,
for H1B. And that's when the moment I got the receipt, finally, um, we could be, full time on this job. And then I was also pursuing my EB1A on the parallel side.
mm. And that, so you probably file a transfer from your previous company to your own company for H1B, and
Yeah.
then how long did it take for EB1?
So EB1 is a long process, right? As you know,
Yeah,
like
yeah, you've been
if
building for
spoken to anyone. Yeah.
yeah.
Now for my EB1, obviously it would have been much easier where I am right now as a CEO of this company. But remember, for this entity, I was an investor. right, to begin with, right? It was my money going in, right? So I obviously, you're allowed to do passive work for outside of H1B,
Yeah.
right? It's a gray area, but they say that you can do passive work. I could not draw salary. So obviously I could not say that I'm working as a software engineer or whatever, right? So it's like I'm an investor in this, and but I didn't need that. I had enough experience, but I had to build my profile, right? I had to do a lot of work to do all the extracurricular things that you don't normally do here. Like you don't really get your name out or write a blog or do judging of hackathons. So all of those things I started doing for 1 year,
Mm.
um, and then build a profile. Took about 2 years, 1.5, 2 years.
And when did you apply, and how long did it take to approve? Probably premium processed it, I'm assuming.
I did premium processing it. I mean, that's like because you're already spending $10,000 on lawyer fees. So
Yeah.
paying extra 1K for getting results in 15 days was worth it.
Right.
So I applied, I think 2023,
Mm.
and I got my green card came 2024
Mm.
after I just finished status.
Mm.
Because one thing I remember what I did was, which is the funniest thing ever, is I had to go and tell USCIS that this person doesn't need the H-1B anymore from this company,
Mm. Mm.
which is a funny application to file.
Mm. Yeah, interesting. Man, this has been like I feel like this is a good pause or like a stopping point, but I would love to like bring you back and talk about like EB1 and other things. I'd never like I again when we started, I was like, okay, we're gonna go the immigration route, but we totally went into
Yeah,
business
it's all
route, and
business.
I'm excited that we did. And obviously, you
Yeah,
bootstrapped it, so I didn't get chance to talk about like equity and how would you distribute it and all of it. But maybe, but I'm assuming you have enough context and knowledge. We can bring you back and do that next time.
yeah, we can do it. Yeah.
Before we wrap, what's the one advice would you give to international students who are on this entrepreneurship route and planning to build their company business?
Fail fast.
Mm.
And one thing to know is that failing, being completely wrong, 100% wrong about something feels exactly the same as being completely right about something, right? It gives you the same fun and thrill. So
Mm.
don't be half wrong, be fully wrong.
Amazing. Love it. Again, thank you, Sid, for doing this. I can't wait to bring you back and talk more about founder
Sure,
and entrepreneurship and immigration. This was fun.
my pleasure.
Yeah. Awesome. I'll put links to. I know you have an amazing community, so I'll put the link in the description as well for people to check that out. And I am part
Yeah,
of that one as well. And again, Sid, I'll put the community H1B founders in the description for people to check out. And I'm excited to bring you back. But until our next one.
until then, keep smiling, keep hustling.
Nice.